whose non-disclosure agreement have expired. What secret can you finally reveal? If you ever get a text saying your bank flagged suspicious activity, and to verify your card ending in the right 4 digits, do not respond to it. I worked at a company just outside of Dallas for almost 2 years that ran what they called a customer retention floor, but it was nothing of the sort. We were buying leaked banking data in bulk, and the whole operation was built to sound exactly like your actual bank. The reason the last 4 digits are always correct is because we already had them. We would call people, usually older folks, and tell them we noticed a fraudulent charge and needed them to confirm their identity to reverse it. The panic did the work for us. A man called in one afternoon, and I could hear his oxygen machine in the background. He kept apologizing for being slow and said his wife used to handle all of this before she passed. I was supposed to walk him through confirming his security answers so we could, quote, lock his account for protection. Instead, I froze. I told him his account was fine and that he should hang up and call the number on the back of his physical card. And only that number he thanked me, like I had done him some enormous favor. And I sat there feeling like the worst person alive. Because 2 hours earlier, I had done the exact opposite to somebody else I quit that Friday. I still think about that man. Listen to me. If a bank calls you, you hang up and call them back on the official number. A real bank will never be mad that you did that. They built that whole floor around the fact that scared people stop thinking clearly. Well, that is a pretty heavy way to open things up, huh? Phone scams targeting the elderly might genuinely be the lowest of the low. There is a special kind of evil in a company that engineers panic on purpose. Thank you for the warning op. And honestly, good on you for the oxygen machine guy. That could not have been easy surrounded by people doing the opposite. Hey everyone, we actually have a brand new channel now where we go way more.
This is
people who built a whole relationship on a lie. How did that work out? When I first met my girlfriend, Layla, she asked within 5 minutes if I understood Somali. I panicked and, for no good reason, said no, even though I grew up speaking it fluently at home. Before I could take it back, she looked relieved. Perfect. My last boyfriend spoke it and got way too tangled up in my family's drama. I need someone who can just smile and nod at dinners. I gulped, smiled, and nodded. By the end of that date, I decided to keep the lie going and deal with it later. Then came the first family dinner. Her grandmother looked me over and said, in Somali, "This one looks like he loses his phone twice a day." Her mother replied, "At least a forgetful man has a soul. This one looks like the soul already left." Layla squeezed my hand and whispered, "They're saying you have a kind face." On the drive home, I almost confessed. But then she said, "I'm so glad you can't understand them. They can be so embarrassing." So I thought, maybe she's protecting me. Maybe they'll warm up. They did not warm up. Her uncle called me the participation certificate. Her aunt asked if my parents were professionally disappointed. Her grandfather once spent an entire dinner explaining why my forehead was architecturally concerning. Every time, Layla would listen, sometimes laugh, then turn to me with a cheerful fake translation. "They love your shirt. Granddad wants your workout tips." Granddad had just said his friends in the grave had more muscle than me. The worst part was how she'd whisper back to them, fast, and I could never tell if she was defending me or joining in. Then she found my old notebook while cleaning a cupboard, full of Somali poems I'd written as a teenager. "What's this?" she asked, going pale. "My cousin's," I said quickly. "He left it here." "Your cousin writes poetry?" He's sensitive. Her eyes narrowed, but she let it go, or so I thought. Then the tests began. She played Somali songs at dinner, watching my face. She left Somali news on the table to see if my eyes tracked the headlines. She asked me to read a caption out loud once, and I butchered it like a lost tourist. "Interesting," she said. I realized she wasn't just suspicious, she was terrified. If I understood the language, it meant I'd heard everything. Every insult, every fake translation she'd fed me. She found Somali in my phone's language settings, must have tapped it by accident. She noticed I'd liked a Somali restaurant's post captioned entirely in Somali. I liked the sambusa photo. One night, her mother mocked my shoes and my jaw tightened for half a second. "Foot cramp," I said. Layla stared at me a long time. She didn't believe me. She just couldn't prove it. Then we drove to meet my parents. Everything was going beautifully. They adored her. She adored them. At dinner, Layla mentioned wishing I could understand her family better. "Oh, but he should," my mother said brightly. "He grew up speaking Somali. He used to translate for the whole neighborhood." My father lunged for his water glass and knocked it over. "Very rusty now. Barely a word." My mother frowned. "What? He won that recitation contest?" My father kicked her under the table, and she went quiet. The room fell silent. I stared at my plate. Layla looked at me, then at my mother, then back at me. A recitation contest? I had nothing. My mother had demolished 3 years of cover in under 30 seconds. Layla's face cycled through about 15 emotions. Confusion, realization, horror. She was replaying every dinner, every insult, every fake translation, in real time. She didn't say another word through dinner, or the whole drive home. When we pulled into our building, she finally spoke, staring straight ahead. "So you heard all of it, every dinner, for 3 years. Every word," I admitted. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, to my complete shock, she started laughing, the helpless, crying kind. "Do you have any idea," she said, wiping her eyes, "how many times I sat there defending you, telling my grandmother she was wrong about you? I thought you couldn't hear me fighting for you." She turned to look at me. "That's what those whispers were, you idiot. 3 years of both of us lying to protect each other from the same family. We told them the truth the next week, together, in fluent Somali. Grandmother nearly fainted. We're getting married in the spring." People who built a whole relationship on a lie. How did that work out? When I first met my girlfriend, Layla, she asked within 5 minutes if I understood Somali. I panicked and, for no good reason, said no, even though I grew up speaking it fluently at home. Before I could take it back, she looked relieved. Perfect. My last boyfriend spoke it and got way too tangled up in my family's drama. I need someone who can just smile and nod at dinners. I gulped.
Sadu. research this first.
Smiled, and nodded. By the end of that date, I decided to keep the lie going and deal with it later. Then came the first family dinner. Her grandmother looked me over and said,
Suddenly, King Kong feels a sharp pain in his tooth. He realizes that one of his teeth is broken. The pain is so unbearable that King Kong is unable to eat anything. With no other option left, King Kong returns to the human world. People are terrified when they suddenly see King Kong, but when they learn the real reason behind his arrival, the country's best doctor is immediately called. The doctor gives King Kong an anesthetic injection, which calms him down. The doctor then descends with the help of ropes and reaches King Kong's enormous mouth. Upon examination, he discovers that a transport airplane is stuck inside the broken tooth. The plane is removed, and a strong new tooth made of titanium alloy is implanted in its place. After receiving his new tooth, King Kong becomes very happy and returns to his own world. However,
I woke up in a panic and found myself trapped inside a mechanical body. I ripped off my sleeve and stared at the robotic arm where my hand used to be. This couldn't be real. It had to be a dream. But then I caught my reflection, a cold, mechanical face staring back at me, and I completely lost it. I clawed at the faceplate, desperate to tear it off. It wouldn't budge. That's when I heard noise outside. I stumbled toward the light and walked out into a crowd of robots that looked exactly like me. All of us pinned in against a towering wall. Everyone was just standing there, looking around in total confusion, like they had no idea who they were or how they got there. Up on the deck, armed human soldiers were barking orders at us. Some of them were already shooting. My name is Adam. Unlike the others, I still had fragments of memory, enough to know I had once been human. I just didn't know why I'd ended up like this. And the alarms went off. Two dark figures were approaching in the distance. The soldiers on the wall panicked. They yanked up the deck and screamed at everyone to fall back. I didn't know what to do, so I just kept walking forward. As the figures got closer, I could see they were robots too, built like ancient warriors, carrying themselves with an air of mystery that felt older than anything I'd encountered. One of them drove a device into the ground and raised its arm. A wave of interference pulsed out and hit every robot around me, sending our chest displays haywire. It felt like being forcibly rebooted. When it was done, the warrior bots turned and walked away. Everyone followed, confused but drawn in. I glanced back one last time at the wall. Whatever world existed on the other side of it, it wasn't mine anymore. Who was I, really? We moved slowly across the wasteland under the warrior bots' land. The radiation was brutal. Every step felt like pushing through concrete. One of the robots in our group had already been badly damaged before we even started. The environment finished the job. His energy drained out, and no matter how hard he fought to stay online, he dropped. I went over and tried to help. There was nothing I could do. The warrior bot checked in and confirmed what I already knew. The system had shut down. For a robot, shutdown means death. The warrior bot signaled me to keep moving. I did. Eventually, we reached a compound. The guards opened the gate the moment they saw the warrior bots. Once we were all gathered inside, the warrior bot finally spoke and told us the truth. We had all been human. Anyone who broke the law had their memory wiped and their consciousness transferred into a mechanical body. One person's organs could keep 10 others alive. The earth had become so uninhabitable that this was the only way humanity could survive. Robots who violated the rules were exiled to the wasteland. Without someone to guide them, they'd wander aimlessly until their power ran out and they died alone. Then a mysterious figure appeared, someone called Jing. The warrior bot said he could read a person's mind and memories down to the last detail. Everyone felt it immediately, that invisible pressure pressing down on them. I noticed right away that he wasn't a robot, and he wasn't anything else native to this earth either. He walked straight up to me and extended his hand. He was scanning me. I woke up in a panic and found myself trapped inside a mechanical body. I ripped off my sleeve and stared at the robotic arm where my hand used to be. This couldn't be real. It had to be a dream. But then I caught my reflection, a cold, mechanical face staring back at me, and I completely lost it. I clawed at the faceplate, desperate to tear it off. It wouldn't budge. That's when I heard noise outside. I stumbled toward the light and walked out into a crowd of robots that looked exactly like me. All of us pinned in against a towering wall. Everyone was just standing there, looking around in total confusion, like they had no idea who they were or how they got there. Up on the deck, armed human soldiers were barking orders at us. Some of them were already shooting. My name is Adam. Unlike the others, I still had fragments of memory, enough to know I once been human. I just didn't know why I'd ended up like this, and the alarms went off. Two dark figures were approaching in the distance. The soldiers on the wall panicked. They yanked up the deck.
I got the radio on. Outstanding. Get us in touch with the boat. Copy that.
my floppy disks and everything in here. Sanding it.
It's all about strategic man.
While I was out at work, my wife discovered my secret when she found hundreds of human skin masks. She freaked out and called the police immediately, which blew my cover. They staked out my place, tracked my movements, and soon located my hideout. I had barely gotten out of my car when the police showed up to arrest me. I pretended to give up, and when they dropped their guard, I quickly set off a trap. They were blinded by a bright flash, and I took that chance to escape, only to find the area was already surrounded. I couldn't resist and was taken